needless to say, this has been a very interesting week when it comes to the definition of marriage and the family. I know a number of you saw me do interviews on CNN trying to defend the biblical definition of marriage. It's not a political issue. This is a creation issue. And regardless of your political persuasion, God only has one definition of marriage. That's a man and a woman. And any other definition is an illegitimate one. But yet, the reality is, even though we know the definition, so many marriages are in turmoil. So many marriages are collapsing. 50% plus now of all marriages end in divorce, and much of the others that remain are not necessarily people who want to be there. And that is because we have misdefined it, first of all, and its purpose of marriage and the family. When we started this series on kingdom family, we said that the purpose of marriage and the family is not your happiness. That's a benefit. It's a benefit. It's a good benefit. Certainly something you don't want to be married to be miserable, but that's not the reason that God established it. He told them, be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth and subdue it. The reason God created family, the foundational institution in society, was for the advancement of his kingdom in history. It was a kingdom purpose. And to subdue the earth, that is, oversee the earth on his behalf through the family structure and its replication, be fruitful and multiply, throughout the earth, replicating the image of God. Everywhere children would establish new families. So the advancement of God's kingdom through family, therefore marriage, the centerpiece of family, was the reason God created it. But because that purpose has been lost and personal happiness has become the driving force, when people are no longer happy because they're not connected to the purpose, then they want to no longer be part of the institution. So my first concern is that we get back to the biblical purpose for family, the advancement of God's kingdom in history through the marriage of a man and a woman. But even if you have the biblical purpose of family, you may not be organized according to God's structure for family. If you've been following me, you've known that he says marriage is a covenant, and within that covenant there is a structure. And God always works through his ordained structure. In other words, you cannot get God's involvement if you create your own structure. So God has a structure by which this institution in history is to operate. And as we said to the men last time, because God always starts with the man, is if the home is out of order, we have to first ask, is the man out of alignment? Is the man out of alignment? When we talked to the men yesterday, we left one overriding point, and that is dominion comes through subordination. If a man is not subordinated to Christ properly, then Christ is not free to work to him, through him, and in him for the management and ruling of his domain. So the alignment of the man is critical. It's foundational, and it's first. But today we want to talk about the alignment of the woman, the wife. When Satan came into the garden, he went to Eve, not Adam, on purpose. He went to Eve because he flipped God's order. Instead of going to the man, he went to the woman. Eve became the leader of the house. Adam became the passive responder. Roles got flipped, all hell broke loose. Whenever roles get flipped, you don't have to invite the devil, he can invite himself. When we are out of alignment with God, when we're out of alignment in our roles, the devil has freedom because he knows God only works inside of his alignment. So he creates disconnections, he creates alignment confusion. So the man is not in his role, or the wife is not in her role, or both are not in their role, fulfilling the alignment. Now, let me make this point inextricably clear. This has nothing to do with equality of persons. Jesus is equal to God, but it has everything to do with effectiveness of function. While Jesus is equal to God in his being, he is not equal to God in his function. Jesus said when he came to earth, I have come to do thy will, O God. So what Jesus did was he submitted himself to the Father to carry out his function on earth, while at the same time, Philippians 2, being equal to the Father. So every woman is equal to her husband in her being, but she is not equal to her husband in her function. Now, I know people get that mixed up and take function and make it inequality of being, and so treat women like dogs or animals, or dishonor them or disrespect them and all of that. The Bible knows nothing of that. That's why the Bible calls a wife a joint heir, an equal partner, but without an equal function. So please make the distinction between equality of being and inequality of function. In other words, everybody doesn't play the same role.